Hey guys, Brent here. In this video I'm going to run through my post-processing techniques I use to get these images ready for print. Stick around and watch. I'm going to run through how I post-process these amazing images I photographed in Africa to get them printed and shipped. So let's go over to Lightroom. Now you don't have to have Lightroom, but I use Lightroom for all my sorting and editing, post-processing, but you can use any other software. It doesn't really matter. They're just tools, I guess. So all right, so let's find that first one, the baby. I'm just running through, oh there it is. Running through all my elephant images. Firstly, how did I shoot this? I shot it with a 600mm lens, 1/800th of a second, so faster than the rule of thumb, 600mm, 600th of a second. I went faster than 600th of a second, and in aperture priority mode. So let's go to the develop module. This is where I post-process things. So let's go to the original. So this is the original image, and here's the post-processed image. So you can probably see a few things already from the original to the post-processed, namely that in the background there, which was distracting me. I removed it, but let's go into what I actually did here. So if you look at the crop tool, you'll notice that I cropped this elephant so that it fits into the frame a little bit better. So that's the first thing I did. And then I used my black and white Africa preset. So I've got a black and white Safari Africa preset. And by the way, I'll have a link to it. You can grab it for free on my website below this video. So check it out. So what I've done is it's added contrast. I've got the highlights, shadows, whites and blacks all set right. I've got a little bit of vignetting, just a tiny little bit of vignetting. Darken the outsides because it's going to go on a white or off-white matte board, cardboard matting board, just like this image here. So they're like the white matting board, so it'll fit in nicely, and then with the black frame. With this image, what I want to show you is what I actually used the healing brush tool for, spot removal tool. I went to the healing brush. This is what I did. All I did was this area, and I went to that area to grab the information and go over the healing brush area. So what did that actually do? There's the before and there's the after. So what I did was I removed that stump in the background there, part of that stump in the background there, because for me, the elephant, you want to see its face, the ears, the trunk. You don't want that little bit of distraction over there. So that's what I did with this image. So pretty simple. Great, that image is done. That's all I did there. Let's go to another one, which I photographed, which was the one of Harry. Now what Harry did, if you can see this image, is he stood on his hind legs and he was grabbing the branches and the foliage from up high. This is what they do in Manipools. There are no giraffes in this area. So the elephants have kind of evolved, figured out this way of actually grabbing foliage. And just an amazing experience to see. I've never seen that before. We were on foot, incredible experience with everyone on my boot camp safari. There's a shot I did with Harry between Amber and Eugene, both on my boot camp safari. He was checking us out. I was a little nervous because I've never been on foot that close to a big elephant. Here you can see how big he actually is. This is another group with their guide, and he actually charged that group later on. Quite funny. This is the image of Harry. Love this shot. Why? Because of the framing around Harry over here. It looks like he's perfectly posed for me in between all these trees. The light's hitting him. It's just an amazing shot. So let's go to the develop module. 150 to 600mm lens, but I've zoomed back out to 215mm, and I shot at 1/800th of a second shutter priority mode, 1/800th of a second. Ooh, did I say aperture priority mode on the previous one? No, it was shutter priority mode. When I'm shooting wildlife, I always shoot on shutter priority mode at a much faster shutter speed than the focal length. My rule, Brent's rule, is double the focal length. So if you're shooting it on a 600mm lens, shoot at 1/1200th of a second. So I'm shooting at 200mm, so it should be 1/400th. I'm even going faster than that. But I got so excited that I wasn't even thinking about the settings. I just was shooting at a very fast shutter speed. All right. And Harry walked into the light like this. Loved it. What did I do here? Same thing. I cropped it first. And you notice I'm using the triangle on my crop tool over here. So what you can do is in Lightroom, you can actually go to Tools, Crop Guide Overlay, and you can use all these things. So like golden spiral is one you can use, and then you hit Shift O, the letter O, and it changes the golden spiral to different places. So you can see where your focal point should be. But what I'm using over here I was using or you can use the rule of thirds. It shows you where your focal point should be. But what I'm using here, because I was putting together my composition recipe cards, and this was a lesson about the triangle, so I've got that down here last. So there we go, the triangle focal point should be there and there. The reason I cropped like this is to make sure that my horizon is straight, and I wanted to zoom in a little bit on him and have the darker edges. So to have the darker edges, I used the Vignetting Tool again. I can turn this on and off, so there's off and there's on. You can see it just darkens the edges just slightly, because I'm going to print with darker edges, and then that's pretty much it, I think, with Harry. Oh no, I did one more thing. I used the graduated filter over here. I darkened the top little bit over here. If I hit O, it shows you where that's working. And what did I do? I just brought the blacks down just a little bit in the foliage up top there. I can turn this off and on, and you'll see what it did. That's off, that's on. Just darken the foliage ever so slightly at the top, so that when I print this, there's a nice dark edging to this print, so that it goes well with the matting board. You'll see the darker edges at the top here. And then the last image we're going to go to is this image, which I photographed early morning. Let's go find it. And that was one of the first places we went to in Zimbabwe on this bootcamp safari. And it is here. There we go. So it's early morning. Photographed this elephant really close. Also, notice I shot it at a 600mm with the 600mm lens, almost twice the focal length there. Almost used my rule, and got right in close. So the things I did on this image to make it ready for print was I cropped in just ever so slightly and tilted the image a little bit, and I used my black and white safari preset, and I believe that's it, and a little bit of vignetting. Yes, just a little bit of vignetting on the edges over there. So let's go before and after. So what it's done is actually darkened a little bit around the elephant's ears over here. So now that we've got these images ready for print, the final thing to do is to export them and send them to the printer. So you go to File, Export. I've actually got a full res print user preset here, and I'll tell you what that is. It's really easy. I send it to my desktop, the image. I don't do anything to the file naming. I don't do anything to the video. The file settings, I set it as a JPEG image format. The color space is sRGB, and the quality is 90%, and I don't resize it. And the last thing I do is the output sharpening. I sharpen for matte paper, and I sharpen amount standard, and then I export that. And what it does is it exports it to my desktop, which is already there, so I can overwrite that on my desktop. I'll just show you what it looks like on my desktop. There we go. So then what I do is I copy that to a memory stick, take it to my printer, or upload it to Dropbox and get him to print it. I've mainly focused on making sure that this collection works well together so that I can sign them and send them off to the winner. Rodney, who won my last one, and the next winner is going to be announced soon as I do my mini launch for my composition recipe cards. So there's a link below this video. Make sure you go sign up to my mailing list so that you get notified when I launch my recipe cards, and then you can win this collection too, and I'll ship it anywhere in the world. So that's it. I hope you guys find this helpful. Please comment below this video and let me know what you think. This is Brent. Have an amazing day.